You know, one of the most important parts of our body is, got to be really, really particular with it, take good care of it. And that is your spine. Well, today on the show, we're at Performance Spine on Highway 49 in Gulfport, right across from Taco Sombrero, talking to Dr. Robert Kimber. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, Jim.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Let's first get a little bit of background about yourself. Tell us how you got started in doing this.
Okay, well, I've been in Gulfport for now 7 years. I started Performance Spine 6 years ago at this location. It's been a great experience so far, truly doing what I love. Before that, I'd worked in a number of different venues. I'd been a hospital physician. I'd worked in big groups and so forth, and just found that...
Now, you're originally from New Orleans.
Yes, sir. I'm originally from New Orleans. My mom's from Gulfport, and and so this is a natural area for me. I'm very familiar with it, just figured it would be a great place to start a practice.
Now, spinal surgery.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of a tricky situation there, or a tricky part of the body to work with, because I mean it's very important whether we move or don't. Why spinal surgery? I mean, you could have picked you could have been a general practitioner, you could have been OBGYN and all this, or brain surgeon, neurosurgeon. Why spinal surgery?
I don't know, I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. But no, actually, it's a very, very interesting field to be in. It's extremely challenging. I used to do a lot of those things, but after 20 years of practice, I progressed.
Right.
And I've eventually found that I love this, I like it. And it's just extremely challenging and interesting, and it's fantastic when you get good results with patients who are really suffering.
Name of your company is Performance Spine.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Well, I wanted to kind of have a positive outlook for when people visit my practice and reflect what I do. I want to get 95% of people 95% better in surgery. That's my goal. And so if I'm going to offer them surgery, that's what I'm planning to do. Not everybody needs surgery, so of course, as you know, but some do. And the ones that do, we do our best to help them out.
Why is your approach different than that?
Well, my approach is more of a traditional approach, but I use modern techniques. And what I mean by that is, I've found that over 20 years of practice that I've become better by developing my communication skills with the patients, okay? I don't walk in the room and walk out of the room at the same time. I don't use physician extenders. I really have to understand my patients, because the patients that I see have complex problems that have essentially, this is not their first rodeo when they come to see me. They've been everywhere. Most everything else they failed. So those patients take a lot of time. I have to do special diagnostic studies that they've never had before, no matter how long they've been treated. And I really have to get down to what's going on with them before. So the communication's two ways. I need to understand them, and they need to understand what I'm talking about. And sometimes they don't need surgery. Sometimes there's just a gap in their treatment that they need to go back and make up for. Other times they do need surgery. Other times they're essentially, the spine is failing. And any temporary type of fix is just not going to work.
So what role does spinal surgery have? Where comes the point where you say, you need surgery? These other treatments, medications or whatever, are not going to work. Okay,
so there's basically, when you talk about treatment for spine, you're talking about essentially 5 different categories. Medications, big problems with medications. We're in an opioid crisis. A lot of people that need surgery are hiding out in pain clinic. That's not going to be lasting for very long. And what I see from a lot of those patients is that they've got neurological problems that are ongoing in the background, and they're not focusing on those. So I'll see them in my office, and they're pretty far down the track. You would love to get to those patients ahead of time before they just linger in pain clinic. Pain clinic is good for some things, but if you've got a surgical problem, you don't need to be in pain clinic. You need to be coming to see me or someone like me and get it fixed. If you want to restore your life back to where you want it to be. Other than that, you're just putting Band-Aids on a serious problem.
Right.
And the other part is, of course, you've got chiropractic and physical therapy. Now, those are great, and those are necessary parts of the recovery process if someone needs restoration or reconstruction, then through surgery, then those modalities come back into play. many times, I think one of the problems with surgery is it gets a bad rap. You've got all kinds of hype out there. You've got this concept of laser spine surgery, which doesn't exist. I don't know if you know, but they're out of business. They closed their doors because of a bunch of false claims that they were making all over the country.
Huh.
Well, what happened with lasers is about 20-something years ago, the FDA briefly approved lasers for the use of spine. And then they found that after the use of the laser, all the tissue died off and the patients became profoundly disabled. So they quickly took it off the market. But laser spine surgery had used that as a trademark, and through a lot of sort of deceptive advertising, they carried on. Well, they shut their doors down a couple of months ago. And that's been one of the major sort of misinformation campaigns.
Probably why a lot of people are afraid of spinal surgery.
That's a lot of reasons. It's because there's too much hype in the game. There's just way too many people out there hyping things that are just not really real. And it's not about doing the procedure. It's not about barcoding a patient. It's about understanding what that patient, the problems that they're having. And that can be more than just their spine. It can be all their relationships and so forth. And I can't fix a lot of those, but if I can fix their spine, then the patients are in the best possible.
Spine's kind of an important part of our body.
It's the one thing, you know, I used to fix shoulders and hips and knees and all that sort of thing, but it's the one thing that affects everybody. You know, if you're a professional baseball player or you're a policeman or something, you hurt your shoulder, you know, you might be out of the game. But if you're a secretary or you're someone that has an office job, you can continue to working with a bum shoulder. If you've got a bad back or a bad neck, you're having headaches all the time, some of these things have helped momentarily, but you're just not getting down the track, then you know you need to at least consult someone like me. I can then look through everything you've done. I can then say, okay, have you missed a step? Can we go back and do that and see if that works? Or you've had everything and you really need to think about spine surgery. You might have even had spine surgery. I mean, about 60% of the patients that I end up restoring have had prior spine surgery. And it's just it's the kind of thing, you said why spine surgery, it's the kind of thing that you have to study the patient. You have to study the patient, know the patient. You can't be just moonwalking as you're going forward, you're going backwards out of the room. You got to spend time with them.
I can't do it either way.
You got to spend time with them. You can't. You got to figure it out. You got to look over things, and I just can't do that in 2 to 3 minutes. That's why I'm in my private practice.
Right.
That's why I focus on a very narrow set of things, and that's what Performance Spine is all about. Back to your first question.
And of course, you know, if they want some more information, they can give you a call, set up an appointment. Do they need to get a referral from the regular general practitioner?
Not ever. If they do, we can always help them arrange that, and they can have lunch at Taco Sombrero across the street.
There you go, right across the street. Thank you very much.
My
Performance
pleasure,
Spine,
Jim.
Highway 49, Gulfport.